Hi everyone, this is my fight on Captain's Loyalty Bash Lost Chapter Chaos fight, and this is the regular Chaos, and I wanted to show this as a showcase on how broken 2 Amidetalion can be, especially with their turn deletion shenanigans. For this fight I chose party members who are non-synergy, so hence I used Keiss and Arciela. And the reason for this party comp for this fight specifically is that Keiss goes very well with Amidetalion, because when Amidetalion uses her LD, it batteries the entire party and sets up for Keiss's launch very nicely. Arciela rounds up the party I think quite nicely here because her S2 inflicts HP attack disable, which will come into handy on the first wave, because on the first wave I didn't want to use any of Amidetalions turn deletion. I wanted to save it all for the second wave, and so by just inflicting HP disable on both ironworms at the start, you can lock them down for the entirety of the wave. On hindsight, I think Afma would be a better third party member over Arciela, because the HP attacks on the ironworms aren't that dangerous and Afma can easily heal your party back to full. The other reason is that I think she's a bit better on the second wave because she has higher damage per turn compared to Arciela, and she can also battery the entire party with a converted brave attack or her S1, which will set up Keiss's launches very nicely as well. Having said that, this party is really good enough, and really with 2 Amidetalion, most G3 characters will do fine, because when you delete all the enemies' turn, you're essentially just hitting a non-moving punching bag, so to speak. So for the first wave, for Amidetalion, I only spammed Comet with her because I wanted to save her Mega Flare and her LD all for the second wave. With Keiss, I used a few hero support, not too many, and I complemented it with his Selkie throw and his EX to just round off the damage. You can keep the ironworms permanently stunned. Just to note that Amidetalion inflicts quite a lot of frame debuffs on the ironworms, so if you want the HP attack disable to stick without getting displaced, you shouldn't use her LD here, otherwise she will inflict another frame debuff and push off HP attack disable. But anyway, you wanted to save her LD for the second wave anyway. First wave is otherwise pretty straightforward. You just continue on your attacks while the ironworms are disabled. With Keiss, you want to cycle through his Selkie attack, his S1 and his EX, maybe with 1 or 2 hero supports. And with Arciela, you can just spam her HP attack and just use her S2 if you need to refresh the HP attack disable. Otherwise, then the ironworms will go down without too much problems. Also to note that I didn't include an overview of this fight on this video, but I will include that in my video of the Chaos Challenge of this fight, which will come very shortly after this video. Okay, so coming to wave 2, to note, at the start of wave 2, the boss will always use Flash of Weakness right at the start to halve your maximum HP. So many people prefer to use their summon at the end of wave 1, which will then delay the boss from using this HP down aura on your party. However, I don't think it really matters if you use Amidetalion, because having half your maximum HP wouldn't matter if the enemy wouldn't be able to get a single turn to attack you. So I just let it go. I prefer to save my summon for later. And I start off the fight just by using Amidetalions charged EX, and thereafter I will be using her to delete the turns all the way down, which I'll show. Now because I used Amidetalions EX at the start and I didn't delete enemies' turns, unfortunately both the micro Ochu or whatever you call it will get a turn in before Amidetalions next turn. You can always prevent this by just going all out with her LD from the start, but giving them a turn doesn't really matter because their first turn is using triple strike, which is pretty harmless. So you can see here I start using her LD to delete turns, and just by spamming her LD coupled with her Mega Flare will prevent the boss from getting a single turn. Something that I didn't do so well here that I think could be better is to save at least 3 of Keiss's hero support to pair up with Amidetalions LD charges. More hero support if you consider the support Amidetalion as well, because if you buff Amidetalion with the hero support launch buff and Amidetalion uses her LD, you can imagine it batteries the entire party to cap max brave and then provides a launch, which leads to massive HP damage with Keiss's extra additional launch damage. And pretty much that's it for the bulk of the fight. You just want to focus your attacks on the boss in the middle with both Keiss and Arciela. And with Amidetalion, what I did is to spam her LD, and once that is used up, I used a Mega Flare. And in between, when her EX is charged, then I just pause and use her EX for a turn. At that point, the boss's turn is pushed so far back that you can take 1 or 2 turns in between to use her EX. As well as her comet as well. Her comet provides her a framed buff, so if it falls off, just use her turn to reapply the buff with comet again. So I'll just fast forward the vast majority of the fight after this, because it's really not really noteworthy from here on. You can see just looking at the turn bar that the boss's turn is pushed very far back, and so the next couple of minutes or so is really just piling on the damage onto the boss. This boss is particularly tanky, so hence it took me quite a couple of turns to whittle him down. But I'll just fast forward to the part where I bring in the support Amidetalion. Okay, so here you can see that I've ran out of Mega Flare and LD. So at this point, just swap in the next Amidetalion and then continue on the barrage. I still have my summon unused at this point, and I could have really done without the summon, but you know, just to save a couple of turns, I summoned and then proceeded to delete the turns. And with the other two party members at this point is really just continuing on the same trend that what you've been doing. I also realized at this point that I still had a lot of skill users left on Arciela because I was really just spamming her HP attack, so I just decided to use her skills to charge her EX faster. Her EX charges after one skill use if you spam her S1 or S2, and given that the boss is almost dead, I just decided to just forego the HP attack completely. With Keiss, he was running dry at this point in time, but it doesn't matter. What's nice is that if you use Arciela's EX, it batteries the entire party. And this goes also as well for Amidetalion LD, so if Keiss's Brave gets batteried by the other two members, at this point I just use him to HP attack plus on the boss to conserve some skill users. And that's it. So the boss is almost dead. The Amidetalion only has 2 turns left, but you can see that the boss again has his turn deleted so far back that by the time he gets anywhere near a turn, he would have been dead by then. So I'll just, at this point, just continue on your attacks on the boss to whittle him down to 0. And that's it. I'll just fast forward to the end of the fight. And that's it. If you enjoy this video, please leave my video a like and subscribe to my channel or leave a comment. Hope it helps you in your run, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.